You're listening to SuperPower Mommas on the SuperPower Up podcast, the show that embraces the art of soulful parenting.
Hello and welcome. I'm Laura Greco, your host of SuperPower Mommas. And today I'm so excited because we have a wonderful guest, Sara Martinez, and we're talking on the topic of the role of women empowerment as a mama. I met Sara through Facebook and was instantly drawn in by her alignment with what I teach. She and I share a love for motherhood, and I just love listening to her and what she's all about. She's an entrepreneur at heart, and her history shows that she's been doing this from a young age of 19. But her journey into holistic wellness started in 2008. And what is really interesting is that she decided that yoga was going to be a path for her. So she did yoga training. And what I love that she expresses is that her goal is to see women grow their practice in their lives to have breath, movement, and balance on the mat. Anyway, she has combined her passions of health, wellness, and event planning to open the river of wellness, which is actually what I heard about when I first met Sara on Facebook. So we're going to talk more about that. In the meantime, just to let you know, Sara loves being a mom to an inquisitive 3-year-old son. In her spare time, she enjoys working in her organic vegetable garden and in evening bonfires with her family. She currently resides in Illinois, and her husband Dave and her son Logan and their dogs and their flock of chickens and herd of goats. So welcome, Sara. So happy to have you here.
Thank you, Laura. I am so excited to be here.
Yeah, and I love the diversity of your life. You seem to have a richness in so many areas, and I'm sure our mamas here are going to be really interested to hear how you have created harmony in your life while driven by your passions. So we're going to get right into it. On SuperPower, I know you don't know this maybe, but on the SuperPower podcast shows, we like to ask a question about your superpower, Sara. So what would you describe as your mama superpower?
I would say that my mama superpower is that I'm a connector. So I can just network with anyone and connect people to the resources in their life that they need. So I love just meeting other moms and women that have their own superpowers so that when I run into another one and I can say, hey, you need to connect with this person. So I would say my superpower is connecting.
Very nice. Very nice. And that is a powerful superpower. And that's actually how we met. It's through connection, right?
Yes.
So how is it, though, that you use a superpower in connection with your own experience as a parent?
So I use it as a parent because as moms, so it's kind of two-tiered. As moms, I really feel like we need connection, and sometimes we lose that with the outside world, not just our families. Sometimes we start to feel really alone. So from a mother's standpoint, it's being able to connect with other moms and letting them know that you're not alone in wherever you're at and you have a tribe. And from the child's standpoint, as far as working with my son, it's being able to connect with him on a very deep level, to be able to be present with him and hear him, even though he is young, and connect with him like as a human being, because he is. And sometimes we forget that with our children, that they are human beings and they need that direct connection too. And sometimes we get so caught up in all the other things going on that we don't even hear them. And so as a mother, as using that superpower just in my household is really connecting with my son on a deep level so that he knows that we're connected and that I'm here, that I'm not just moving through the motions.
Mm-hmm. So you have, from your words here, I'm hearing that you are able to connect with him by really allowing him to see that you see him and hear him. and value him as an individual too.
Yes, entirely.
Yeah, I love that. And on this topic of connection, we're going to dive a little bit into why you do what you do today, because I'm going to ask you this question. How does connection, your superpower of connection, assist you with yourself?
With myself?
Mm-hmm. Connecting with you.
So it assists. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to expand to help you with this question. So what I'm yes, because I see you helping moms to be able to connect, but how does that help you as a person, as a woman, as a mother, that connection with yourself?
Oh, it's entirely fulfilling. I don't feel alone anymore. I went down this journey because I was a mom who thought I had it all figured out. And then when I had my son, I forgot that one of the things that fulfills me most is being around other people. And not that, again, I just explained that I have that time with my son where we connect on a deep level, but that doesn't mean that the other pieces of me have to leave and not be here. And that I want to continue to connect with adults and other moms and women and hear their stories. And so it helps me because it reminds me that I'm not alone also.
Yeah, because I think I heard you talk about, when we become moms, it's not necessarily that we can't come with a actual game plan. All our children are different.
Right.
Right. And you're different than every mom on the earth. So, there's that combination of two energies coming together. And as you said, they're mirror. I've heard you say this, that they're mirrors of us.
Yes.
Or to us.
Yes.
Yeah. So I always feel like there's, you talk about connection on the outside, that there's always the connection also on the inside.
Yes.
That helps, right? Because what can you give unless you have it also yourself, right?
Yes. And being able to connect with each piece of you and your identity and your mind and body and spirit and have all of that as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I saw when you were on the Facebook Live interviewing somebody about this event that you're holding actually really soon and hold a couple times a year. So we're going to talk more about that. But for the moment, I'd like you to share with everyone where they can find you.
Yeah, so you can find me at best way is on our website, which is www.riverofwellnessyoga.com. You can also find me on Facebook, of course, but you can get to there through the website.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you, everyone. And hold on, we're going to get back and dive deep into what Sara is actually doing in the world and how this is not only helping her as a person, but assisting other moms throughout, I guess, the country, right? Are you worldwide yet or just the country?
Mainly country. We have a little bit expanded into the international, but...
Very cool. Very cool. And she's going to share with us how she has found the solution, not just for herself, for so many other moms. And so we are talking about the role that women empowerment, of a women empowerment as a mama. And you're listening to Superpower Mommas. Hold on. We'll be right back.
Are you here to change the world? Do you talk about things like vibration, frequency, awakening, and consciousness? Are you pretty sure you have superpowers? The Superpower Net is unlike normal coaching programs and conscious communities. We provide training, intuitive guidance, peer-to-peer learning, intensive one-on-one coaching, and a high vibrational network of people just like you. When you join the net, you get 24/7 access to a collaborative group of people who support you as you master your personal power and unlock your superpowers. If you're ready to use your superpowers to change the world, then join the Superpower Net today. Visit superpowerexperts.com/thenet to learn more.
Welcome back. You're listening to Superpower Mommas, and we're speaking on the role of women empowerment as a mama. So, Sara, before we went on the break, we were beginning to allude to how you began your journey. Would you like to expand on that? What brought you into this work and what you're actually doing in the world?
Yes, of course. So I started off in event planning in my career about 14 years ago. And then I had all these other little pieces of me that came along over the last 14 years. I managed a holistic pet boutique. And so that was where I kind of dove into holistic wellness a little bit deeper. And then I had my son about 3.5 years ago. And again, my husband and I have been together for 14 years. And so we waited a while to have our son. And I thought, and we waited because I wanted to have this plan. I'm a planner. I'm very logistical and analytical. And so I had a plan for what my life was going to look like when I had kids. And so we waited until, the timing was more right. I like to say more right because, we all know that there's never perfect timing for something like that. But where my husband's business was thriving and where I could stay home and work remotely minimally. And so that's what we did. We had our son and I was living that life exactly as it was planned. And I found myself, my son was about 18 months old. And the best way to describe it for me is that I just felt alone. It felt very dark. I felt unfulfilled. And I felt, because of all those feelings, I felt shame because I was like, I have all these things to be grateful for. And instead I have these other feelings. And so I started to dive into a deeper personal journey for me, which was going to become a yoga instructor. And that was really more for me when I first started. And not even halfway through, I was like, no, this is what I'm going to be doing. And so took that journey. And then I found that there were tons of retreats out there that were absolutely fabulous. And I loved going on retreat and it made me feel so good. And I came back a better mom when I did. But what I found was there were no retreats that were really focused on moms and the struggles that we have and connecting with other moms where we could build those relationships with people that understand us on a deep level. So building those deeper connections, and not that you don't want to have multiple tribes, but I found that I really wanted to build something that was strictly for moms. And so that's how the Moms on Fire retreat was started. The best way to describe it was, for a very long time, I felt super scattered. I felt like my husband had his company. It was like he had stuck with it for a long time, had been doing it for a long time. And I was this, little butterfly just flying all over the place, doing different things, picking up different talents and expertise. And finally, 2 years ago was that puzzle, all those pieces that seemed so scattered and didn't make sense, all of a sudden just came together into this masterpiece and what it had been preparing me for. And so that's how the Moms on Fire retreat was born, and how River of Wellness, the company, was founded, was just wanting to find this space for moms to come together and really feel connected, find clarity, be able to inspire each other, and be able to grow.
Very, very nice story. And certainly while listening to this, I can see this is something that came out of something you needed for yourself. And
entirely
recognized completely. And I just love this too. Like when we think about, we're scattered, we're going in this direction, then we're going in that direction, but how it all came together for you at some point where you were able to bring it into a unified movement, really. I believe that all moms, like there's a world mama movement, of moms who are almost waking up, you're like realizing that their role in the world is tremendous. I almost believe it's like the greatest job being done on the earth is investing your energy into being a mom and parenting our future,
Yes.
And that of all the reasons for retreats that are out there, like the mom feels like the most important one. Not completely, but very close anyway,
Yeah, sometimes we really forget that as moms, we have needs too. And it's not that we're leaving the needs of our families or our children behind. It's that we're fulfilling our needs so that we can fulfill their needs on a greater level.
Very true. Very true. And as a matter of fact, if you don't have it within you, how can you possibly give it? And that's what I'm actually alluding to, is the idea that you are, as a mom, when you're filled and your well is full up, you have so much more to give. The more it depletes, the less you're able to give. And so our children model us. They don't necessarily always listen, but they're watching, how we be in the world. And so I love that you're doing this for the moms. And
yes, I love doing it, and I really want, the message of it is I really want every mom out there to know that you are worthy, that you deserve to care for yourself, and that your kids deserve to see you caring for yourself.
Yeah, it's a non-negotiable. And I do believe that as this movement grows, that it will become, like right now it's so new, that we're still tied up in some of the old thinking, that we need to be selfless as mothers.
Right.
And that's what's going to do best for our children, but we've already seen the results of that. And the world will certainly be, I believe, a more foundational. It's more of a foundation when a mom is able to teach these skills to their children and model them for them.
Right, because we've all heard it. Action speaks louder than words, right? So we can tell our kids growing up to care for themselves, and because we do believe it, and we want our kids to care for themselves. But what if we care for ourselves how we want our kids to care for themselves as they grow up? Again, like you said, we are their best models, and so they're going to take after us, but they're going to listen to our words. But again, actions speak louder than words. So being able to really model that for your children, and whether they're, we hear all these, you want your little girl to know to grow up and take care of herself, but you also want your little boy to do that. You want him to, I see so many families that, and because, we're talking about moms here, but it really breaks down to our families, and we see so many families falling apart because both parents aren't caring for themselves, and they both need it, Yeah. But again, you can be that model to your husband as well.
Exactly. And generally, that's how it works.
Yes.
The woman is the one more adventurous in that direction and more willing to be open to the concept, and yet less willing to do it for herself.
Exactly.
Right?
Now meet Ted.
Yes. And so, I have referred to it as a non-negotiable. When a businessman takes on a coach, or a athlete takes on a coach, like there's certain things that they're taught to do that don't necessarily have to do with actually the business. There's other non-negotiables. And for a mom who needs to be very available, very open, she needs to know how to create harmony in sometimes a chaotic situation, and maintain herself through all that. That's a skill.
Yes.
And without...
That's a superpower.
That's a superpower. And all moms have it. But sometimes it's dormant.
Yeah.
And so the opportunity for moms to get away, to get the training and also the space to take it in more fully and integrate with other women. Like my husband heard something recently on a channel he was listening to about the swarm, the swarm of bees or the flock of birds, and how they together make decisions and are able to unified. When they're separate, it doesn't happen. But when they're unified, they're able to create their movement of where they're going, where they're housing, and so forth. And that's so cool, because women also are very good at that. And yet they get isolated when they become parents.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think it's a beautiful thing. We've already really touched on this, but do you have any more comments about the mom maintaining her autonomy, and how important that is to her parenting?
I think that I do. I do have thoughts on it, because I thought of it as you were talking about it. So many times, we have all these expectations. We have these expectations for ourselves. We have these expectations from outside sources, and we we run ourselves very low, if not on empty. And we forget that it's really challenging to fulfill any of those expectations. And I could dive into a whole long conversation on expectations, and where those, can challenge us, but we'll just keep it here for now. Okay. Is that if we are depleting ourselves so low, like I've had moms come to me and say, there's just this expectation of me to have so much patience with my children. Well, if you are not maintaining yourself at a high level where you are over full in your in your cup, we all know, we've all heard that analogy, then your patience is going to run very thin. It's just natural. It's not that you are a bad person or a bad mom or not doing things right. You are just not taking the time to fulfill yourself, because our patience, I've noticed for myself, and I see it in other moms, is typically a direct reflection of how much we are maintaining ourselves. And so this means every day taking time for you. And that could literally look like 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be every day going to, an hour workout class or taking an hour bath or going for a massage or a pedicure. It could literally look like 10 minutes, just sitting with yourself, closing your eyes, breathing. That alone can be your peace, but taking some amount of time for yourself every single day. So many times we wait and we wait and we wait and we let ourselves deplete over weeks and months on end. And then we break. And then we get to that point, and then we have to fulfill ourselves. There's no other way, or we stay there. But it's really important to do it on a daily basis. And then I for me, one of the reasons why I did the Moms on Fire retreat is because I do go on retreat, and not my retreats. I go on other people's retreats, because when I'm doing my retreat, my purpose is to care for you guys, to make sure you guys are, that everything's there for you. But I take retreats at least once a quarter. So I not only have my daily practice, but I have once a quarter where I get away, because sometimes, again, with all the sound around us, all the noise, it's challenging to reconnect with yourself and really see, okay, where am I supposed to go from here? Where's my next steps? How can I, really fill up? So.
Yeah. And it's an opportunity to step back and look from it's kind of like, you think of our earth that we live here, it's our home. And yet when we see the photographs that are taken from space, what a whole new perspective it gives to the earth, right? So likewise, when we're able to step away from our family and then look back, it gives us a chance to have new perspective going back into it.
Definitely.
And maybe some challenges that moms, we all face are seen with a new perspective. And I think that's what your events are about, right? Creating new perspective in different areas. Yeah, you want to expand a little bit on that?
Yes. So the retreats they're a little different than your typical retreat, and we bring in amazing experts from all different industries and fields, and they do offer us different perspectives, but we open it up in what I love about this retreat and what I love about the moms that come to this retreat, and I fully believe and am always so faithful that the moms that are meant to be there are there, but we bring ourselves fully, authentically, genuinely, ourselves, our truths, and we all are there to accept you as you are in that moment. But we do offer a new perspective. So we have different speakers come in and offer you resources and different tools, and what resonates with you, you take home, and what doesn't, you don't take home. And that's, that's kind of a part of the journey, right? So if we keep doing the same thing and it's not working, that's the definition of insanity, right? Expecting something different to happen. So as moms, we do that too. Sometimes it could be like, our child won't listen, and so we constantly resort to yelling. And we don't, if we don't ever change that and say, okay, wait, let's try something different. Maybe if I sit with him, or maybe if I, sit and wait, maybe the outcome will change, and maybe we can find a different way so that this pattern changes. So yeah, we offer so many different opportunities to grow and take different perspectives from other moms that are experiencing it too.
It's beautiful. Really beautiful. And it puts in mind another thought. You know, when you're doing this work, of course, you're busy with, helping the moms and so forth, and assisting also yourself in your convictions as a mother and a parent and a woman. But stepping back, even yourself, like, what do you see as the very big picture for the work that you're busy doing right now? What do you see? Yeah, bigger than life.
Bigger than life. So the big picture of this is just, it goes back to exactly what we're talking about here, the women empowerment as moms. We have so much to give that we forget about, and we forget to empower ourselves as well. So bigger than that, like when you talk about that, so there's obviously so many missions. So bigger than just the retreat is the mission of empowering women and of empowering moms to take those steps. And for that, what that looks like for us, that again, I could go so many different directions, but what comes to mind, like the first thing that I think of, that this is kind of a newer mission that we've stemmed on, is that I hope to take this to, is that in our country, being able to get legislation for longer maternity leave and things like that, should moms want to take it. So that's bigger picture for this mission, is really empowering women to be able to make the decisions for their life, whatever that looks like. Because so many times, again, outside sources shift our perspective or shift the way that we make decisions, and we don't get to make the decisions for our life. So really bigger than life of this is just you as a woman, as a mom, living your journey and whatever that means to you, without any outside expectations or outside opinions
Or approval.
Right, exactly.
It's such a big thing, right? Looking for that approval, or being conditioned to look for that approval.
Yes.
Yeah, where really, I believe that inside of each of us is a higher purpose, and not just a higher purpose, but a higher beingness. We're all divine creation, right? So of course we all have that capacity within us. So the more we awaken it, the more it changes life, it changes the world. And through our children, it becomes a compound effect, if you will, because they'll have families too. And, it'll just grow and grow.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. So before we're getting close to the end, and Sara, I really loved having you here, and I hope that you will consider coming back so we can expand on, for example, one of our topics here that we talked about, of expectations. I thought that was a whole topic, so I think we should come back and do that, right?
I would love to.
Yeah. But before we leave, first of all, I'd like you to share again where people can find you, how they can find out about the dates of your retreats, and, all the juicy stuff that you share, maybe.
Yes.
Your Facebook. You do lives all the time, so.
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook, Sara Martinez. I have my profile is public, so come and friend me on there. I love making new friends. I'm all about connection, so be sure to come check me out. And then I can, link you to our page. You can find us River of Wellness too, or we have a private group for just moms, which is Moms on Fire. So you have to be approved to get into that group, but as long as you're a mama, you are welcome. And it's just a really nice, non-judgmental place. And then our website is riverofwellnessyoga.com. And yeah, we're really excited. We have all different types of opportunities as far as our retreats go. So definitely check it out.
That's wonderful. So before we sign off, Sara, is there anything, you've really spoken to the topic of this call, which is the role of women empowerment as a mama. I think you beautifully highlighted that. And is there one last thing that we didn't cover, or one tip that you would like to leave with our listeners before before we end the call?
Oh, one tip is the challenge. Well, so what came to me, this is just going off of intuition, is that as a mom, what I want you to know, if you don't know anything else, is that you are enough, you are worthy, you are deserving, and you are loved. And I love to take that practice like with me in the morning, just go and look in the mirror and tell myself that each day. So if that resonates with you and feels right, otherwise, all in all, I just want you to know that from one mom to another, you are great, and we see you, and we're here for you.
Beautiful. It's almost my sign off. So great. So great. Thank you so much. That's why we were in alignment. When we first talked, we were so, and about like even the maternity leave, we were discussing that as an issue that needs to be resolved. So this is really fantastic. And so we do have to go, though. I'm Laura Greco, your host of SuperPower Mommas, and thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Sara, for coming on, and we look forward to having you again. And I just want to say to all our listeners, you mamas, go love yourselves for the treasure that you are. Discover, unearth your superpowers, and go out and be you, because that is what your children want to see. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Are you ready to discover your superpowers? Go now to superpowerexperts.com and take the Superpower Quiz today.